Hey guys, welcome to the review and results show for the January 3rd, 2023 edition of AEW Dark. My name's Dan, and since you're probably brand new to my channel, I need to let you guys know that I will be reviewing every single AEW show going forward. That's everything from Dark Elevation to all of their pay-per-views. So if you missed the show and you maybe just wanted a quick recap, this place is for you. Or if you enjoy all things AEW, then this place is for you as well. So please click that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you don't miss a single review, as I will be putting them up the day after at noon Eastern Time. And also, by doing that, you'll also be helping me out a ton because it will help more people to find my channel. And without any further ado, let's get into the review. The show started off with Brian Pillman Jr. taking on Christopher Daniels. And I gotta say, huge shout out to Taz and Excalibur for saying such kind, heartfelt words about Don West. With my experience with him way back when I first got into TNA, he was one of the main reasons why. He had such an infectious personality. Every time he got excited for something, you got excited for it, which is such a rare commodity, especially in this day and age. So he will sorely be missed. But there was a lot to be excited about with this match. This, I believe, was Brian Pillman's first single match since Griff Garrison got injured. He was kind of lost in the shuffle there for a while. But he was in there with a perfect dance partner in Christopher Daniels. He led the match, and Brian, he looked like $1 million because of it. But he did lose by taking the best moonsault ever in a very, very solid opening. But this is not going to be the last time we hear from Brian Pillman Jr. on this show. We then switched backstage where Lexi Nair was interviewing Ryan Nemeth, and I was so very happy to see him on back-to-back AEW shows. He's so good at being such a delusional here, and he was certainly that way here. He had me legit laughing throughout this promo, so more of this, please, AEW, more of this. Going back to the ring, we had the in-ring general and Emi Sakura taking on the young up-and-coming Jada Stone, and this was a fun little match, not really too much to it. Jada is surprisingly really good, even though she's only been wrestling a very short time, so I have to keep an eye out for her in the future. But she was no match for Emi, as she put Jada's spark out fairly easily. I always love watching her wrestle because she's such a character, man. Hearing the fans doing the stopping for "We Will Rock You," I will always pop for that. Good stuff all around. We then go backstage again, where this time Lexi is standing with Arn Anderson, Brock Anderson, and Brian Pillman Jr. And Brian is just looking all sorts of dejected, not really too happy about his recent performance, but Arn sort of leans into that, right? He talks a bit about the struggles of both of them, but does mention the possibility of them tagging together because they did tag once, and apparently it went really well. And Brian sort of brought up the fact that his family told him that if he ever needed any sort of help, any sort of advice within the wrestling business, then Arn was the guy to come to. So this is officially a thing. This trio is now officially a tag team. I'm very curious to see what the ceiling is here, very curious to see what their future is, and also just excited in general for them because of the overall history between the two families, the tag names they may come up with, and the tag finishers as well. Heading back to the ring, we have Draper, who's making his AEW debut, taking on the Hollywood Hug, Ryan Nemeth. And I really love how vocal Ryan is during his matches, especially when the crowd is so quiet, because that is exactly something he needs to do to get the crowd more involved, more vocal. And I also loved the athleticism from Dak. He showed a lot of it in here, but ultimately he was defeated by Ryan Nemeth in a very quick match. Next, we had Blake Christian taking on Shawn Maluta, and I gotta say, every single time I watch Blake Christian wrestle, it's an absolute pleasure. His athleticism is incredible. His acrobatics are just off the charts. And Shawn Maluta wasn't a slouch here either, really brought the hard-hitting action. There was a spot where Blake sort of did a rolling powerbomb into the corner that looked like it really hurt. Shawn really sold that well. But ultimately, Blake ends up winning this match with an incredible 450 splash. After that, we had Leon Ruff against the leader of the Trustbusters, Daivari. And before the match, Ari had an offer for Leon to lay down, and if he does lay down, maybe he will join the Trustbusters. And he looks like he's about to do it, but no, says he's not going to lay down for anybody. That is a man of integrity and absolutely incredible athleticism. That's something You're probably going to hear me talking more about on this show because there was a lot of it. There was an incredible spot to where he was jumping from rope to rope just to get away from Daivari, but unfortunately for him, the Trust Busters, the numbers game, was just too much for him, and Ari ends up winning with a hammerlock lariat. After the match, though, a very interesting development. All the Trust Busters were beating down on Leon, but Blake Christian and AR Fox make the save. Maybe this could lead to a very fun trios match going forward. Then we had Richard Adonis versus Raju, and I gotta say, the over-top introduction for Raju was absolutely hilarious. Dasha said, let me just make sure I read this correctly. His mother calls him son because he shines like one. That's one of the more bizarre introductions that I've heard. With the match, though, solid back and forth here. Adonis looked impressive with a very nice Northern Lights suplex. But it wasn't enough as Raju was able to pick up the win with a diving stomp from the top rope. It was an okay match, but it was a very, very physical one. Up next, it was Jora Johl going up against Jarrett, Diaz, and Taz made a very interesting point, a very solid point, one that for some reason he got a lot of flack for on Twitter. And it was Jora talking during his entrance, but not only that, talking while Dasha was announcing him, and he said he probably shouldn't do that because the mic is going to be able to hear you, no one is going to be able to hear you, and any sort of advice you get from a guy like Taz is pretty invaluable. So as far as this match was concerned, not too much to it. It's a decent back and forth between the two, but the thing I really wanted to talk about was his finish. Very good finish. Diaz was going for a springboard off the top rope, and when he goes to jump into it, he takes a big, and I mean a big boot from Johl, ending the match. It was a very, very impressive finish. We then had backstage one more time where Lexi's now standing with Raju, who is celebrating his victory over Adonis, and he said he's hungry for more. It's a very motivating promo, a promo that superstars usually do, superstars that are on Dynamite, on Rampage. I feel like if this guy ever gets the push, he could probably handle it pretty well. So it will be very interesting to see his future, his trajectory in 2023. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see him on Dynamite or Rampage. Back in the ring, it was Axton Ray and Blanco Loco taking on two members of the Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver, and it's always great to see Dark Order on my screen. This was a fun little match. It had a great ending sequence, though, and I gotta make sure that I get this right. I have it all typed out here. There was a kick in the corner to a spinning forearm from Reynolds, an enziguri, a stunner, then a German and jackknife combination cover to pick up the win. That's always so impressive to see. I always love their offense. So innovative, and I'm really, really waiting for their push to come sometime in the future. After that, it was the Varsity athletes, Tony Nese and Josh Woods, against Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis. Josh Woods was the star in this one, showed off some pretty impressive strength with that deadlift belly-to-belly that he did. Had a great blind tag. That's amazing release. German suplex was awesome, and they ended up getting the win here with the 1RM. Then it was Kaci Lennox versus Kiera Hogan, and I am a huge Kiera fan. I love everything she does. All the time she's getting has been great. Whether it is on here or on TV, she's got that big tag match against Jade Cargill on Dynamite. I love her energy, and I'm always into that. This was a quick one, though, not really too much to it. Kiera ended up picking up the win over Kaci with a side suplex, but Kaci sold this really well, made it look a lot more devastating than a normal one. Up next, we had another Trust Busters match with Ryzin and Crimson Steward taking on Sonny Kiss and Slim J, and I will never, and I mean never, complain when Sonny is on my screen, even in the heel role, because he does so great at that as well. Him with an edge is just perfect. The little things he does, like when Ryzin was sort of laying there on the middle rope, like, you know, the whole like 619 position or whatever, and he comes over and just like sits on the back of his neck and just sort of pushes down, up and down. It looks so good, such a great visual. And then to cap things off, hit a perfect, and I mean, perfect 450 splash to get the win for the Trust Busters. Next, it was the Captain Shawn Dean taking on Ariel Dominguez. I love the Captain, but this was another quick one with the ending being a big splash from Shawn to get the win. He also had a great shotgun dropkick that Ariel sold really well, made it look really good, really devastating. Another W for the captain. When is MJF going to give Shawn his match, damn it? On to the main event. It was Darius and Dante Martin of Top Flight taking on JD Drake and Anthony Henry of the Workhorsemen. Anytime you have guys like the caliber of Top Flight on your show, you're going to put them in the main event, and the Workhorsemen were perfect with them. Back to Top Flight for a second. Everything Darius and Dante do, I'm always just absolutely blown away because they make everything look so freaking effortless. Like topes look just so good. Don't even look like they're even trying. They look great. And Drake and Henry look great as well. They are just criminally underrated. I really would love to see them more on actual TV. With that said, though, there were some fantastic spots with this one. There was one where Dante was able to do a backflip off of JD Drake's back. I'm not kidding. Literal backflip off of his back. Then Darius with a beautiful Spanish fly onto Anthony Henry. You also had JD Drake, who had a fantastic senton onto Darius. But the best, certainly saved for last, that finishing maneuver from Top Flight looks incredible. The one that they did against the Kingdom, where Dante jumping from rope to rope and does that little moonsault there, where Darius is just holding him up in the air. So impressive every time they do it, and they pick up the win with it. And that was AEW Dark. What did you guys think about it? Please let me know down in the comment section below. Standout matches for me was Daniels, Pillman, Maluta, and Christian, and of course that big-time main event with Top Flight taking on the Workhorsemen. As I said earlier, I will be reviewing all AEW shows going forward, from Dark Elevation to every single AEW pay-per-view. So if you missed it, you want a quick recap, or you enjoy all things AEW, please hit that like, subscribe button, and the notification bell, because not only does it let you see whenever I put up new reviews, but it also helps more people to find my channel. So that's going to do it for me here. Thank you guys for checking this out, and thank you guys for being all elite.